Thank you for joining us for another episode of Marking the Times. This is Dr. Mark Hitchcock here in my office in Faith Bible Church in Edmond, Oklahoma. And it is a great privilege to have you join us every week to get updates about what's going on in our world that's relevant to end-time Bible prophecy, but also to answer questions you send in. And again, feel free to send those on the Facebook page. You can ask questions about prophecy or other things. So I enjoy answering questions about end-time prophecy, but just any Bible questions you have, we enjoy those. I got a few from our video last time, and so I'll answer those maybe in upcoming weeks. But I got another question here I want to answer about the two witnesses. We've had several questions about that over the years, but I want to answer this question because it's a little more specific. It says, I was wondering about the two witnesses in Revelation. First, do you think they're Moses and Elijah? And second, if so, do you think that Jude indicates that Moses' body was resurrected since Michael the archangel and Satan were fighting over it? Finally, would this be so that Moses could be one of the two witnesses? There's a lot asking that question, so let me kind of take it apart briefly. The two witnesses are described in Revelation chapter 11, verses 3 through 14. And there's a lot of dispute about who these two witnesses are. There's symbolic views, and people think they're Elijah and Enoch because they didn't die. Some think they're just two people in the end times. We don't know who they are, who will live during that period of time. But I do hold that they're Elijah and Moses. The reason I hold that is if you go back to the book of Malachi, the last book of the Old Testament, Moses and Elijah are mentioned there together. Moses and Elijah appear together at the Mount of Transfiguration with Jesus, which was a preview of Jesus' second coming. Also, when you go to Revelation chapter 11, just the miracles that the two witnesses do are similar to the miracles Moses and Elijah did of turning the water to blood and the fire coming down from heaven. So I do believe that Moses and Elijah will be these two witnesses. They'll be brought back for kind of an encore role, if you will, during the tribulation period. But then this questioner says, well, do you think that that's why Moses or why Michael the archangel and Satan were arguing over the body of Moses, because Moses' body was being resurrected? We find that in Jude verse 9, where it talks about Michael the archangel disputing with Satan over the body of Moses. That's not found anywhere in the Bible. There's no biblical record of that. Many believe that comes from a writing called the Assumption of Moses. Other people think Jude just got that from oral tradition. But we do know from Deuteronomy chapter 34 that Moses' body was buried. His body was buried by God. It could have been through angelic agency, but his body was buried by the Lord. And so a lot of people wonder, well, why were Michael and Satan disputing over his body? Well, some people believe that after Moses was buried, that his body was resurrected, because again, it's going to appear later at the Transfiguration, and that Satan was arguing with Michael about his body being resurrected because of the sin that Moses had committed by being a murderer. If you go back and read the Assumption of Moses and a lot of this oral tradition, that's the reason people think that Satan was arguing with Michael about this, is because Moses had been a murderer, and so he didn't have a right to have his body buried. Now, my view is that the reason Satan wanted the body of Moses was probably to make an idol out of it, to have his burial place known. He would be venerated, and people would go there, and that could become a stumbling block for the people of Israel. Kind of like you remember the serpent, the bronze serpent on the pole. That became something that the Jewish people later worshipped. So I think that's probably what Moses was trying to do there. Whether Moses' body at that time was resurrected or not, we really don't know. All we know is later on he does have a body at the Transfiguration that could have just been a temporary body that the Lord gave him just for that event. We really don't know for sure. But anyway, to kind of wrap this question up, I do believe that Moses and Elijah will be the two witnesses. I think the reason that Satan wanted Moses' body was to become a stumbling block to the people of Israel, again, to make some kind of shrine or to venerate Moses in some way, to try to lead the people into some form of idolatry. Again, we know at the Transfiguration that Moses had some temporary body that he appeared in so he could be seen. But we do know that he'll have a future body, again, a temporary body to live on earth to fulfill the role as one of the two witnesses. So anyway, there's a lot wrapped up in all that question, but I hope it's clear what I see there in that. And so anyway, appreciate you joining us again. God bless you. I hope you have a good week, and we'll see you next time.